A to the K WrestleTalk, which you can go subscribe on the YouTube channel. You can go to their Spotify, etc. Listen to the podcast. Make sure you to subscribe. Enjoy. I mean, let's be honest. They just got a shout out from me, so they must be somewhat decent. I know they're somewhat smart because they could have got a shout out from someone else, like Marco Stunt, but instead they got it from me, and I am a god, a Spanish god. So these guys are awesome in my book. So far, I've actually never listened to them, but maybe I'll go check them out soon. Maybe. I'm trying to clean my place right now, but regardless, this is a bunch of useless information. Why am I telling you that? Regardless, make sure to subscribe, and please put this entire shout out in because I would love to hear where I'm talking about cleaning my place.
Right, Carl. So we'll move on to Seg 3, which is just us running through Double or Nothing. Would you like to run through the matches, Carl?
Yeah. I just think, firstly, before we even get into it, I was going to say, it's a weird one, this pay-per-view, because I don't think they really spent a long time hyping it up, but then over like the recent Dynamite and maybe the one before it, I started to get really hyped for it. And I think just looking up and down the kind of match card and stuff like that, there was some really, really decent matches here for it. But I didn't actually watch the buy-in.
Unfortunately, neither did I.
So not too much to say about that, but what we do know is the Best Friends took a win over Private Party. I think we don't really watch AEW Dark, so I'm not too sure if Private Party are on there, but I've kind of missed them from.
Yeah, we've not seen a great deal of them on Dynamite on the weekly show, have we? I think a lot of people get a lot of time on Dark, but you know we watch and talk about Dynamite, so sadly we don't get to see a lot of them, even if they are, like you say. Yeah. Again, we never watched the buy-in, but it was a number one contenders match, I believe, wasn't it? So that will see the Best Friends going up against. It's still. I feel like I've missed a beat here, but it's still Omega and Page, isn't it, with the titles?
Yeah.
Cool. It just seems to be in the background for the Elite at the minute as well, so I weren't sure.
Yeah, no, I think it's a big win for the Best Friends. So interesting to see them actually get a shot at the titles, I think. But yeah, so the first match of the main card was actually the Casino Ladder match, which I was quite excited for, to be fair. It's like their version of Money in the Bank in it, and you know, as history goes, Jericho apparently came up with the concept of Money in the Bank. So
this is sort of Jericho pushing the Money in the Bank idea with a different branding.
Pretty much, yeah. This was a bit 50-50 for me. I don't know what your thoughts were on it, but I felt like it was quite clunky. For like a multi-man match, like firstly, so from a rules standpoint, it was kind of like a bit of a crossover between like the Royal Rumble and Money in the Bank, because they had two guys started out, and every like 2 minutes or something, an additional guy would come down up until all 9 of them were there.
Yeah, and they try and buy into the casino element, don't they? So it's like done on cards or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
But I find that probably a little bit messy in terms of how they put that across, to be honest with you.
And I think as well, it doesn't really make much sense because so it started out with SCU, like both guys from SCU, Scorpio Sky and Kazarian, were the two guys who started off. So obviously friends, you know, tag partners and whatnot. But I don't know, like what's stopping them just saying, okay, well, tell you what, Scorpio, you get it, and they just win it before anyone else has even come into the ring.
I mean, that's the loose element of it. Is like, in theory, from what I gather, you know, you could win the I was going to say belts, you know, the thing. You could win it without everyone coming out. That's kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah. So literally, it's whoever climbs it and gets the chip. So
the chip, thank you. I weren't sure what they were climbing for, but it's a chip.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that bit puzzles me. I mean, like, it'd be nice if they were clear on the rules of like every man has to have entered before you can climb the ladder, but then that'd be a bit chaotic as well. It'd be a strange rule, even though that is likely what we see every time one of these matches happens.
Yeah. But no, I think I was 50-50 on it because I don't know, it's really hard to get massive multi-man matches right, and it's hard enough when it's like 6 people or 7 people, but to have 9 people in there at one point, plus, you know, Jimmy Havoc's there accompanying Kip Sabian. You know, you have other different run-ins, like Best Friends show up and stuff like that, and it just became very I don't know, a bit cumbersome at times. That being said, there was some really good kind of spots in there as well. So like Darby Allin was another standout in this. some of the kind of spots and stuff he did. But probably the big piece of news from this match was there was one participant who was to be announced on the night, and it was the 9th participant, and it was a debuting Brian Cage. So this guy, he was hired by WWE many moons ago, but never really did much in there.
I believe he had a fair showing at TNA, didn't he, for a while?
Yeah, so he went on the Indies after WWE, and he went to Lucha Underground for a bit, and in Mexico. And the last kind of 2 or 3 years, he's been in TNA. I think he was the X Division champ, and he was their main champ for a while as well. So the guy is fucking huge. Like he's jacked. So I remember not too long ago we were chatting around AEW and talking around like their lack of kind of big monster kind of heels and stuff like that, and I feel like that's changed quite a bit over the last few months.
Yeah, it's interesting how much that's changed since we made those comments, to be fair.
Yeah,
it shows you that they do almost that they see they're obviously watching their product and going, this is what we need to work on, which is great. I like to see a company acknowledging their weaknesses, and I'm pushing towards them.
Yeah,
I joke that they listen to us, and they might. I really don't know, but chances are they saw what we saw. You know what I mean? Which is great. I like to see a company being organic with it.
Yeah, defo. What
did you think of the sort of Taz's role in all this these days?
Yeah, so obviously Taz was he seems to be his manager, Brian Cage's manager. So I don't know, it kind of came out of nowhere. So the last couple of weeks it's been Taz trying to help Darby Allin after he lost to Cody in the TNT title brackets, and I don't know, it kind of just came out of nowhere a bit for me, this, but at the same time, I think Taz could be quite good as a manager, to be fair. I'm definitely open to it, but again, it doesn't really make much sense why he was pitching after Darby for so long to then come out.
Only had this guy in the wings,
So unless they're going to go into like a Darby Allin thing as like the next.
Maybe
the first feud for him or something, perhaps, because I'm not too sure, again, in terms of how the cash-in would work in this particular match. So
forgive the because again, it's not something they mentioned at Double or Nothing, but I think I read today that it's going to be Fyter Fest. That's we see the match.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think they're fucking around with it. I think that'll be September Fyter Fest. So they do pay-per-views a little bit differently. It's not one a month like WWE tend to do. Is it 1 a month for WWE? It's not as regular as WWE anyway. But yeah, so the next one I think is September, and it'll be Fyter Fest. And yeah, by all accounts, that's when he's going to have his title shot.
Interesting. Yeah, I wasn't sure whether it was just a case of they could like Money in the Bank style, just rock up and enter themselves into a match or challenge someone, or whether they had to pick it ahead of time, or whether
really,
it was
because of the casino gimmick. It kind of feels like that's how it should be. You cash in your chip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just makes sense. But yeah, I don't know whether that is something they can do, and he's just chose to go for Fyter Fest or whatever. It's just something that I've seen on social media, so it seems like that's happening, and that's his opportunity there. So it seems fairly well laid out, rather than when will he do it.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's quite interesting then, but definitely a big catapult for this newly debuting Brian Cage. So he's not someone that I've watched loads or anything. So interesting to see how he looked impressive in the short amount of time he was in the match. They took him out at one point and like buried him under a load of like stuff from around the stage to kind of keep him down, and then obviously he kind of powered his way out of that. But no, he looks like a monster, and he looks very agile.
The only thing I will say, I think I always think it's a little bit difficult when somebody debuts in a match like this, because don't get me wrong, he's looked well in the match, but like I always prefer when you get to see them in a bit of one-on-one action, so you get to get an idea of what they're like in the ring, because that's really not what we've got at the minute. Do you know what I mean? But again, not only a minor thing, but I just wanted to mention it.
Yeah. No, I think he definitely looked impressive. So I'm keen to see what's next. I've got an inkling it's going to be Darby Allin just because of the Taz link, but interested to see where it goes. But yeah, I thought for an opening match, it was full of excitement. If not, maybe just a little bit clunky at times. But
yeah, I certainly think it's not as fluid as like the likes of a Money in the Bank match. Not this year's, because this year's was crazy, but like a typical Money in the Bank match, it certainly didn't feel to run as fluid as that sort of thing. It did have its clunky moments, but again, overall, really good. And considering they're still new to the game, AEW, all credit to them.
Yeah, definitely. So nice little fun way to kick it off. Kind of got me hyped for the rest of the show. The next match was, I'm going to say now, was match of the night.
Really? Wow. Me. Okay.
So it was Jungle Boy versus MJF, and this was just a classic for me. Like, it was so, like, we talk about a lot of guys having good chemistry together and stuff like that. This was phenomenal. This was like a really old school kind of like technical, like, you know, MJF can go, man. Like, this kid is gonna go really far just because charisma has never been in question. Like, is in ring work.
I dare say he had the charisma first. Really?
Yeah, well, 100%. Like, I don't feel like I've seen enough of him to ever kind of fully judge how good he was in the ring, and I've just always had this assumption because he's so good, like, you know, from a charisma standpoint, that his in-ring work probably wouldn't be like amazing. But like,
I take your point, because usually you don't have it all, do you? It's very rare you see a wrestler who has every part of it. So usually when they're good on the mic, they're not so good in the ring. But no, he's definitely got it.
No, this was just such a good match. They were both really equally kind of matched as well. You know, Jungle Boy's another guy who reminds me of like a really young Shawn Michaels, a bit Jungle Boy. But yeah, I just think
he's just a Jungle Boy.
Jungle Boy. Oh, that's hilarious. But yeah, so for me, this was kind of the standout match of the night, I would say. It wasn't my favourite, you know, segment overall. I mean, we'll come on to the Stampede match, but
yeah. But in terms of actual
matches, this was you know, my favourite one. I don't know what your thoughts were.
Well, to be honest, I'm not. It's going to sound like a cop out, this, but I couldn't even tell you what my favourite match was. I'll totally agree with you. This was a really good match and really good for the pair of them. And I've not seen Jungle Boy in the ring an awful lot either. With all due respect to him, he kind of gets overshadowed in that trio by Luchasaurus. So, you know, it's nice to see the one-on-one between the two of them. And I think they both looked really good, and it was a really good match. But I honestly couldn't tell you what my match of the night was. I think, you know, credit to you for listing this one, because it was a really good match to watch.
Yeah, definitely.
And certainly better than the next one, all due respect to it.
Yeah, do you know, right, so the next match of the night was the TNT title match. I was a little bit disappointed seeing the title design. So I'm a big kind of title nerd, to be honest, and it felt a bit lackluster this. So apparently, you know, I don't know whether this is going to change things much or whatever, but apparently Tony Khan's come out and said it's not finished. So they've got intentions to add yeah. So apparently because of COVID, they couldn't finish the belt properly. Like, they're meant to be adding gold plating and stuff to it.
All right, okay.
But yeah, so I don't know whether you believe that or whether he just heard the reaction and was like, but yeah, so I don't know. Like, I know it's getting a lot of shit for having like a red strap and stuff because everyone hates the Universal strap and that, but that didn't bother me. It was just more the title design itself felt really bare.
Yeah, I mean, there's a strange thing really for this where, like, people seem to get kind of het up on belt color, but you know, we've had like green and all sorts over the years. It's not like they have to be black. I think it helps to, you know, stand out. I actually prefer the red on that strap to help it be a bit more distinct. It's up there with having like your IC title with the white strap. I always like that. It just made it stand out a little bit. But like you say, I think the actual plate design was just a bit industrial. Do you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't a lot to it. And I'm not a massive fan of the massive TNT on the crossover front of it. But yeah. I know it's the TNT title, so it kind of has to have that. But it's not like you win the world title and it's got world wrote across the front of it in massive letters, is it? So it didn't need that. But no, I get it. TNT is a brand, and that's what they're doing. Fine.
Yeah, that's what they've done. Unfortunately, I think because that's my hang-ups with it as well. It feels too bare, and it's like, well, really, it's just a giant logo of TNT, and the TNT logo is a circle with TNT in the middle. So they can't really start putting shit in there. So
it's just black block letters from what I saw as well. Really, it's like, and there's not a lot you can do with the TNT logo. It is what it is. But I don't know. I feel like someone could have done a better job with that. Finished or unfinished, I don't think it's going to end up looking much different. Maybe with a few more accents to it, but it's not going to be much different.
Yeah. So that was kind of my first gripe. Then the actual match itself, I don't know what it is about Cody matches. They're always just so overproduced. Like,
I'll take your point on that.
Like, there was just far too much, far too many shenanigans. There was too much Arn, too much Jake, too much Mike Tyson. It was just, I don't know. Like, I mean, think of everything going into the build-up of this.
I will say though, when you say too much Mike Tyson, I was incredibly worried about the inclusion of Mike Tyson. I think I mentioned it last week, maybe. So or maybe I mentioned it to you not on the podcast, but in any case, I was worried Mike was going to be involved too much. So I was actually quite relieved at the level of Mike we got. In all fairness,
yeah, it's one of
he
them.
took his shirt off, but all good.
He's because he's such like he's such an oddball, and it's like it's strange because he's there and he did like there's really good bits then really weird bits like when I'm getting a bit tired of this Lance Archer fucking entrance where he just starts battering some random fella like once or twice, okay, but that's his entrance now, just to be beating somebody up on the way to the ring.
Which is stupid because then they start going like logically any company, and again kayfabe and all that, but I like kayfabe with a little bit of elements of realism's not even the right word because we've got undead people and burnt alive people. But basically it's like, well, logically you go, well, don't have anyone near him because he's a fucking loose cannon, or you'd have words with them and say you can't keep doing that, we're going to get sued or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It just a bit of a stupid entrance, like something that should be sustainable for a long time.
But like I thought, like all that aside, like Mike Tyson then like reacted to seeing him, and it was like that was priceless. It was like a really good reaction. But then there was stuff in there where he's like posing and kind of saying like squaring up to Jake and stuff like that. And I think there was one point where the camera cut to him and he was like yawning, and it was like fuck, you know what I mean? Like the camera had to cut away dead quick, and it's like I don't know. There was good bits but bad bits with it, and I know it ultimately it did what it set out to do, and it was to get. They got mentioned all over the place. You know what I mean? It was like Mike Tyson this, Mike Tyson that. Mike Tyson looks ripped at AEW, and
he did look ripped. To be fair,
yeah.
I feel like he insisted that his shirt has to come off at some point. Because he knows he put the work in there.
Oh yeah. Well, who's going to say no as well? Sure thing, Mike. Whatever you want. But yeah, I don't know. The match itself, like, they don't need to be so overproduced, and it's a shame. And it's always Cody matches, to be fair, and it is a bit annoying. But
he's actually alluded to it though. When he was feuding with MJF, he alluded to the fact that, like, what did he say? Like, he knows about, like, I can't remember the words he used, but he was basically like alluding to the fact that he has like a big grandiose entrance, and he knows about putting on a show, basically. And it's like he's well aware that it's all very overproduced, but does it anyway. But like you say, when we're seeing him in regular matches, it can get a little bit tiresome.
Well, it's one of them. Like, I don't even mind like the entrances and stuff like that. I think it's more that there's always some like shenanigans of some kind. There's always like Arn Anderson getting involved. Like fucking Jake Roberts was there, and at one point he was going to bring the snake back out again, and it's like, well, why? And then like he clearly didn't even have
you just want a straight up match between them.
Yeah, and I think with the whole build up to this, where it's been like Lance Archer's come in and he wants to take Cody's piece of the pie, and then it's been made around this title thing and all the stuff with like Brandy and Jake, and they've had a load of stuff leading up to it. And I feel like the focus was less on Cody trying to get revenge on fucking Archer, and it was more around like everything else that was happening around them. And it felt like the two guys who were fighting for the belt felt second to the rest of the shite. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know.
You know what else I was surprised at? We had Arn come out with Cody, and Brandy came out with Dustin later on. And I thought this was a perfect time to have Brandy come out with Cody, because she was having that back and forth with Jake and saying like she doesn't need a man to defend her, it's a new age and all this. Would have been a perfect time for some, if you're going to have some shenanigans, some Brandy shenanigans where she gets the upper hand on Jake somehow.
Yeah.
And almost close that off as well, but she weren't there at all. She's like not asked about the whole snake incident and all that,
Yeah, I think they've had to do this because of the whole fucking thing on Dynamite this week, where those guys were having a little press conference with themselves.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, makes
doing
sense.
their own thing. But I think it would have made perfect sense, as you've said, to have her there because she's been the focal point of Jake more than Arn. But then they've switched it last minute, and
it would have been a little bit of women's power as well for her, getting her own back. But hey,
I guess I'm glad that they just didn't have both of them there, because that would have just been extra overproduction. Do you know what I mean? If you think of the last time she was at ringside for a Cody thing, it was him stepping out the way and she got knocked over and Billy going, you know what I mean? It's every match he's in, there's fucking something. You know what I mean?
Shenanigans, Carl. Call it what it is, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I was surprised by the outcome. I wasn't. I think.
I was. I'll be honest. I was disappointed by the outcome, and I've not really said a great deal on Lance Archer just yet. I don't really. I was like, I struggled to buy the gimmick when they're like, he's the Meta Hawk Monster Man, and I'm like, are you really trying to sell me on something? And it feels almost like you're trying to sell me on it because he's not. I was half expecting like just like some skinny, weak dude to come out the way they were building them up to be something. And then he come out and he's had a few matches, and you can go, all right, they're deliberate squashes, but he looks awesome. So I was building for it, and I thought the logical conclusion would be for Lance to take the win on this. And I get, Cody lost his opportunity at the world title and will never be able to win it and all that bollocks. But I was kind of disappointed that Lance didn't win this.
Yeah, I don't know, because I don't know where Lance goes next now. Like, is it over? Like, is it not?
Well,
if
yeah.
it's not, then...
I mean, they never got that piece of the pie, so you've got to imagine it's not over.
Well, exactly. And it's like, I don't know, like where does Jake fit in now and stuff? You know what I mean? I'm interested to see where it goes, I think. But
yeah,
I was surprised that Cody won it. But yeah, I don't know. It
nice to be seen. It'd be interesting though if Jake sacks Lance off for someone else, tries to bring another talent in to do the same, and then Lance Archer gets in the way and is like betrayed, and it sets up a feud for Lance because Jake's trying to bring someone in who can topple Cody. You know what I mean? There's ways of doing it. But yeah, I was surprised. I mean, in some senses, you could argue the other way. If Lance had won, someone I'm sure will be sat somewhere in their world on a podcast talking to their friend about how Lance won a title too soon. You just don't know. So
very true.
I don't know. For me, I was ready for Lance to win that. So I was a bit surprised that it went to Cody.
Yeah.
Especially because Cody's one of like the directors or whatever. So it's like, right, so you're giving yourself the title. Nice.
I know, like I feel like he can't win either, can he now? Do you know what I mean? Like he's done the thing of saying, okay, I'll never win the world title, and I've got a storyline reason for why, and then this is the one to come up, and then if he would have won it like he did, it'd be like, oh fucking hell, he's putting the title on himself, and then if he wouldn't have won it, it would have been like, oh, he's doing that thing again where you can't, you know what I mean?
You're
like,
not allowed to win the TNT one now.
Yeah, so I don't know,
he's probably damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. To be fair, but yeah, again, more of a personal preference. They were both good. It was a good match. A little bit overproduced, a little too many shenanigans. But for me, I wanted Lance to win, so that was a little bit of disappointment at the end there.
The next match, I haven't really got too much to say on it, to be honest. It was Statlander versus Penelope Ford.
First one to mention, obviously, this was originally meant to be Statlander Baker, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I think Ford was a sort of a last-minute replacement. And I can see something in Penelope. And it's not just the fact that it's yet another blonde. It seems like we may have a fascination with that, Carl, given our fandom of Alexa Bliss. But anyway, I think she's really quite talented. So it was nice to see her getting a bit of a push, let's say, because I don't think she'd have been on the card at all had Britt Baker not have been injured.
Do you know what though? I'm not actually sure whether Statlander was the replacement. I'm not sure.
Am I wrong on that? Apologies. I thought it was Statlander Baker.
Like you might be absolutely right, but I
could equally be absolutely wrong.
Part of me thinks it was meant to be Baker and Ford, and Statlander got added, but I could be wrong. But okay. For me, I was just, because I'm also quite a big fan of Penelope Ford and like the gimmick and stuff like that. And I don't know, I was surprised that Statlander went over. I would say because I don't, as you said, like I feel like if she was going to be getting a level of a push of any degree, then this could hinder that a little. But
yeah, I mean, I thought Ford needed it more because Statlander's already had some good matches in AEW. She's already, I say it a lot, but a credible wrestler. But Ford is up and coming, certainly in the main focus. We've not seen her on Dynamite a lot other than Valet and for Sabian. So for me, she could have done with the win here. So it's a shame. And like you say, I think it probably isn't helping if she is getting a push. So I'm not sure what the aim of this was.
Yeah, me neither. So fair dues. The next one, something about these Rhodes brothers. They do like a bit of overproduction. So this one was where Sean Spears comes out, and he's called out Dustin Rhodes, who's obviously retired apparently, according to him.
Apparently, even though he had that retirement match and won, so he didn't have to retire. He apparently retired,
exactly,
or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So he basically comes out, and Dustin's nowhere to be seen. His music plays, but he doesn't come out. So he asks the referee to start the 10 counts and start the match, and then Brandy comes out because why wouldn't she? And then it turns out that Dustin is there and he's behind him. And then they have a bit of a scrap, and Dustin takes the win. So okay,
cool. Yeah, sound.
Literally nothing to say about it.
Strangest thing I suppose was having to see Sean Spears' ass. Probably the strangest thing for that match.
Yeah, it's not the best.
No.
It's not a perfect term.
Nice.
You know, for someone who calls himself the chairman.
Yeah. But for those who haven't seen the match, why are you listening? Like, we're ruining everything for you. But no, for those who haven't seen the match yet, there's a bit of I don't know if it was originally like a fuck up or whatever, but it seemed like Dustin, if it was a botch per se, he rolled with it because he sort of hiked his underwear down further, didn't he? So I assume it was deliberate, but could have been a wardrobe malfunction as well.
Yeah, not quite sure.
Either way, more than we wanted to see of Ty Dillinger.
Yes. So then the next match was a no DQ match for the women's title. Nyla Rose took on Hikaru Shida. So Shida had been undefeated for quite a while now, but we obviously know Nyla's quite a monster. The fact that it was a no DQ match kind of gave me some inklings we may see some kendo sticks, and we did.
Sticks galore.
And we actually crowned a new women's champion, which I was.
I see from my notes here, I've actually wrote that Shonda took the win. So
not Shonda.
I know. Surprise entrance in Shonda come in and took the win. I'm guessing.
I feel like that's an opportunity to be like Nyla's street cousin or something. It's Shonda Rose. It's Shonda Nyla.
Love it. But so I feel like my typing skills might not have been up to scratch there. Who won, Carl?
Well, it wasn't Shonda. But yeah, so Shida is our new women's champ. It was really good match, to be fair, and I think she's kind of a big standout now in that division. I think.
Do you know what? I've been ready for Shida to take the title for a while now. I think she's been awesome. She's a really good in-ring competitor. I think, again, she might be another one. Did she come from New Japan? I know she's had a lot of wrestling history. She was quite a vet in a lot of senses when she joined AEW. Not that I've been able to follow her because I don't really follow anything outside of WWE or AEW. But she's been really good in AEW since her debut. And I've enjoyed most of the matches I've seen her in. She's, I'm all for her being the women's champion, to be fair. I was actually a little surprised that Nyla lost it so soon. Like, has she defended it on a pay-per-view before? Is this like the first pay-per-view she's defended the title?
Maybe. If she has defended it, it's only been once or twice at most. Do you know what I mean?
It's not been a long run with the title. I thought they might have given it a bit longer, but even so, I'm all for it. It was a really good match, and I would have been happy with either winner. Really, either one would have made sense.
Yeah. I was trying to think. My mind's gone blank on who the first women's champ was. I forgot her name. I can picture her. I know exactly who she is.
Yeah,
but
it was Riho.
Riho, yeah. So I think Riho obviously held it significantly longer than Nyla, which is crazy, really, because obviously once Nyla won it, she was more of like the monster kind of villain who you thought were going to keep it for quite some time. So I think what was good is I think she feels like a credible threat, whereas like some of the others maybe didn't. So hopefully it opens the door now for some additional kind of people who it would feel realistic to take the title off eventually.
Yeah. But it was a good match all around, really.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. Then we got the World Heavyweight Championship match, Moxley versus Brody Lee. I quite liked it. I don't know what your thoughts were.
I'm a little torn because no, I like the match. Like, you can't argue that it was a good match between the two. They had good chemistry together. It was enjoyable to watch. I'm more torn over the result because the way they've built Brody Lee up, I felt like he needed to win. But at the same time, I hate titles moving around too quickly. And this is what the second time Moxley's defended it, third maybe.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, no, Moxley kind of needs to hold it a little bit longer. But I don't know, do you think this is going to cause a bit of a problem for the Dark Order, or do you think they can work with it in the sense of Brody's going to be even more of a maniac and more pissed off because he took the loss? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to give up on Dark Order stuff too soon. I think, obviously, they kept him strong, I think, because he kicked out of a couple of paradigm shifts, and, he couldn't put him away. He had to basically choke him out. He didn't tap. He just kind of got put to sleep, didn't he? So they kind of
so they haven't made him look weak from it. Yeah,
yeah, they did. I think they did as much damage control as they possibly could. So I don't necessarily think it's over. But yeah, I feel like it'll be interesting to see from a character standpoint how much it changes the whole kind of approach, I guess, of him.
Because I think, am I right in saying this is the first loss we've seen Brody take? I know he's not had a lot of matches yet, but this will be the first loss, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And given the character he's built himself up to be, you imagine he's going to take a lot of umbrage to that. So you never know. It could build into more of a feud between the two of them. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I definitely think it'll carry on for a little bit, which I think is a good thing because I feel like that's bounced around too much as well. Like he was facing Hager, then you know what I mean. Like I feel like he just needs to work.
Yeah, he's not actually had a feud or a program, as you say. It's been like him next. Yeah, so fair point.
Yeah. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see where that goes. And then the main event of the evening was the
main event, Cal.
The Stadium Stampede match.
The chaos that was the Stadium Stampede match.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Loved everything
I know
about
there was a lot of speculation before this that this could be similar to what people were doing with Money in the Bank. Could be great or it could be a fucking train wreck. But yeah, I think this was a lot of fun. You know, really well done. And yeah, it's just enjoyable all around, wasn't it? Really, just, typically what you come to expect for you. I don't think we'll ever see anything with the Elite and the Inner Circle that's not going to be just gold because they all know exactly what they're doing, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, there was like this was just honest to God, it was so funny and so entertaining. Like I found myself laughing just so many different times at so many different things. It's what you know what I mean. I say it's what wrestling is, even though it wasn't really a match, but like it's what this kind of pro wrestling entertainment thing is all about, isn't it? It's
yeah.
And do you know what I think as well? Jericho didn't really have much of a showing in this, and I think I mentioned on the Dynamite review before, he's doing such a phenomenal job of being this megastar, but like not hogging the limelight.
Yeah, he's got the balance perfectly right, hasn't he?
Mm. But like I think I'm trying to think of all the different kind of stuff that happened. Obviously, you had Hangman on a fucking horse chasing down Sammy Guevara. Obviously, I'm having flashbacks of the fucking golf cart incident. So he gets chased down, chased away. The stuff with Matt Hardy, man. Did you mark out for that Hardy stuff?
Yeah, no.
So yeah, so it was like I'm talking more around. It's obviously it's not quite the Lake of Reincarnation, but the fucking swimming pool of Matt's alter egos. But basically, it just tickled me so much because he's obviously coming out as a fucking psychopath Matt Hardy, and then when they dunk him under the first time and like almost try and drown him, then he comes back up as like Matt Hardy, like with the fucking things, and they dunk him again, then he comes back up as version 1. And it's got like fucking Matt facts and everything. It's like a proper like old school throwback to the version 1 days, and then he ends up back as Vanguard again. Whatever the fuck he's called. Damascus.
Don't be wrong, I do enjoy the production of it, and I do enjoy the nostalgia. I'm still very up and down on Damascus as an entity, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's his shtick now. I can't moan about it too much, that you either love it or hate it. But no, it's always good fun to see the retro elements there. Version 1's probably my Matt, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I that's what I was thinking about. I was thinking that you'd get quite a kick out of that because I know obviously he's done the I'm just Matt Hardy before, but not like the version 1. So that's the first time we've seen it, and just the way that they ripped off the Matt Fax thing as well, like from the old SmackDown days, that was really funny.
To be fair, yeah, that's a quality move, that.
So obviously that had me tickled. The when Hangman can't find Sammy Guevara, so he just goes to the bar, and then Jake Hager goes in.
And he starts serving drinks.
Yeah. Like that tickled me, and it was like, so we could drink and are we fighting? And then like, well, what's the difference? And then like they just start going absolutely crazy and do the whole sliding them across the bar scene where he's just fucking smashing drinks everywhere and stuff. Like that was tickling me.
Yeah, I love how they leaned into like that sort of stuff as well. It's like Hangman's known for the drink, so they have that little bit in there. It's I don't know. There's so many moving parts, but they play to everyone's character really well.
Yeah. Well, that's it, and it was just like I'm just trying to, I'm like racking my brain to try and think of all the stuff. There was the bit with the fucking the chalk, or the field chalk, and he goes up like he's going over doing the lines, Hangman, and then he fucking puts it over Jake Hager, and it all goes in his face and stuff, and then Sammy Guevara getting beat up by the sprinkler. You know what I mean? It's just like just stupid shit, but it's like so funny.
Yeah, I mean, if I think it's fair to say, if you don't watch any of Double or Nothing, if you can only watch one thing from Double or Nothing, watch this, because you don't see stuff like this every day.
I'm forgetting about the thingy, that thing as well, where I can't remember what the move is. It's like the Northern Light suplex thing, but he keeps doing it on Sammy Guevara, and he goes the full length of the football field and scores a touchdown, and then spikes Sammy's head into the floor, and he does like another fucking fantastic sell. Do you know what I mean? It's just honestly everything about it was great. Jericho did.
It's fair to say, like, sorry, go on.
I was gonna say Jericho did have a moment of his own. Obviously, it's more for the American football fans out there. But after Aubrey doesn't count the 3, she only goes to 2. He calls the challenge, doesn't he? And they go in like the little the little fucking thing to review the footage and stuff, just like you would do in an American football game. And
yeah, I think that's a fair point. Like, it was probably a little lost on us as Limeys, but yeah, I think the Yanks probably would have got more of a kick out of that as well, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
But no, I think I love the use of the space as well. Like, this is, and I don't want to try and rag on WWE, but this is an example of when you're saying, like, you're having a match in the entire arena or whatever, and then they go into the audience a little bit, and then they go on the ramp a little bit, and that's about it. This is not that kind of thing. I mean, to be fair, it was never an in-ring match anyway, but it's great when you see that use of space there. You know what I mean? They were in the stadium and they used the stadium, and I don't know. I think they were very, very creative with everything they did there.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I believe like everybody on the whole roster like was asked to submit ideas for different like spots and different things that like could happen and stuff like that, and everyone really got involved in it. So
you got to love that input as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I just thought it was really fucking funny, and like Guevara as well. Like, this kind of cemented it for me. Like, we were talking about him in the ring, and we were talking about his like his charisma work, but like he's just become like this little star, hasn't he? Like,
oh yeah, I think it's fair to say in terms of this as well, he was the one who put his body through it, really.
Yeah,
no, they all did stuff, but he was certainly he was a shining example in terms of like I don't want to say punishment, because hopefully he didn't take too much punishment per se, but the what he was willing to do, fair play to him.
Yeah, definitely. But no, I thoroughly enjoyed the whole show start to finish. So for me, it's I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 because there was some clumsiness. There was some matches in there that, like the Sean Spears Dustin Rhodes one, which was fine, but just felt like it didn't belong on there. Like the Penelope Ford and Statlander one, just again was a bit thrown together and stuff. But the match quality, like the MJF match was fantastic. The Stadium Stampede was just something else. There was loads of decent matches on there also. Yeah. Solid 4 for me.
I think I'm with you on that. I have to give it a 4. Nothing has yet gained my 5, and sadly this was probably getting close to. But there are bits like certain results I was like, and certain matches like the 2 you cited, especially the Statlander and Ford one, and the Spears and Rhodes, they didn't feel very strong in terms of booking, but all around a really enjoyable pay-per-view, and a 4 out of 5 for me, definitely. Awesome. And that's it, Carl. That's another week. I know you're devastated. We could talk for hours with these things, but that's another week done. Another week of A to the K's WrestleTalk. So, any closing notes, Carl? Any closing notes? Anything you want to say to the people?
To the people, I would like to say, please remember to check us out on all social networks, including TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And again, wherever you're listening to this, if you fancy a little bit of a change, we're on everywhere where podcasts are available.
We even discovered that we were on something called Bullhorn the other day.
We apparently a lot of you guys listen on that, so thanks.
Yeah, thanks for that. It was a surprise to us because we didn't realize we were on there, so that's good. That's awesome.
As well, if obviously during these times, if you are stuck at home and there's not much, you can't really go out and do much, and you're planning on listening to us while at home, then also check us out on YouTube as well. Same show, but drop us a subscribe. We would appreciate it.
Similarly, if you can't find the remote and you still want to listen to us, you can always ask Alexa as well.
You can. Thanks to TuneIn Radio and iHeartRadio and all the radios that we are on.
So pretty much anyway, we couldn't have put ourselves out there more for you. We really couldn't.
Exactly. And, we've just proven that we're in more places than even we know about, because we're finding out new places every day too.
Damn right. Awesome. Right. And as for my closing notes, all I need to say is, bye. Now, until another week, guys, I look forward to it. So we'll see you all next Sunday.
Have a good one.